Welcome. So glad to have you back. It's our community, you know, and I want you to meet somebody that I know you've heard about if you like to cook, but you may not have met. And her name is Judith Fertig.
Great to be here, Mary.
And Judith and I have known each other since 1995 or a little before.
Yeah, a little before.
And I have been her disciple in cooking all of these years, Judith, because what she does is write cookbooks, and she has the best. Truly, and I have to say that, and she is not paying me to say this, mind you, I never have tried a recipe from any of your cookbooks that wasn't good.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You know, it's important to me that that things taste good, and I'm amazed that, you know, every once in a while you'll get a sugar cookie or something like that, and it doesn't taste like anything. And I think, oh, so that's it. Flavor is a big thing.
I know. And you know, when you cut, I like to cook, and so I always trying new recipes, and most of them aren't good. You know, we just cut them out of here and there. Most of them are not good, I don't think. 1 out of maybe 6 or 7 is really good.
Yeah.
I know that you started out Come Into My Kitchen.
I did. I did the Come Into My Kitchen column for a while. I actually taught college writing here at Johnson County Community College for a while. So when I first moved here, so I've had a rather checkered past. So,
you know, if we live long enough, most of us have.
Yeah, checkered's good.
That's right. How did you make that switch from writing to cooking?
Well, you know, there is that kind of crossover time when you're just sort of overcommitted, and so I think I had a year or two of that, and then you have to be brave enough to think that you can be in business for yourself and you can make a living doing this, and then just take that leap of faith.
Have you always liked to cook, though?
I have. My mother was a really good cook. I grew up in Ohio, and then when I went off to college, she discovered Julia Child, and she had been a really good Midwestern cook before, but when she started cooking Julia Child recipes, you know, with white wine and with herbs and all these wonderful ingredients, it was, you know, we couldn't believe it, and I would go back to college kicking and screaming that, you know, I had to eat minute steak and peas again. So it was, to me, you know, that was sort of magic. It's like you can make this, you know, this thing that just tastes wonderful, and it's not that hard.
Well, you know, I believe in the diplomatic philosophy of Golda Meir, because she always said, "Feed them and they'll feel better."
Right.
I love that. You know, as we were talking about, I cut recipes out, and for many years, and I have to say, I don't cut the Come Into My Kitchen recipes out anymore because it's changed a lot. But in the years past, I have. And did you have you remember any really favorites from that time? Does anything come to mind?
Well, when I first started doing that, you had to get 5 recipes from someone, and they had to have several of them prepared, and then for some of the time, I also took the photo. So it was quite a production. You were asking a lot of people, and I mean, there were more so than the recipes. I remember the adventures, you know, that going different places that you know, I'd never been, and meeting, you know, wonderful people, and you know, who you know, were really good at what they did and loved to share. So
did you ever go in and taste the stuff and you thought,
no, not really. No, I didn't really. I didn't ever have that, because if, you know, usually someone had nominated this person, or you know, or you knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. So it was 6 degrees of separation.
And they had good recipes.
Yeah, they had good recipes.
Yeah.
And
but I don't know. I think recipes have changed.
Well, I think, you know, people want things to be easier, and there are good ways to be easy and bad ways to be easy, and that's one of the things with Heartland, you know, with the new book. That's a good segue, isn't it?
That's a good segue. Oh, and we didn't plan that, Judith.
No, that just kind of morphed into that. But the newest book, Heartland, is all about its contemporary farmhouse food, kind of going back to local, and you know, farm people from long ago didn't futz around in the kitchen. I mean, they were busy. They were busy, and so that what they did was homemade, but it had to be good. And so this is a book about kind of easy ways to achieve that, but using real ingredients and real food and with a local flavor. So
and see, wouldn't you just know, opening it at random, a dessert, apricot cream cheese strudel.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds good. But
And
this is really what it says. Half a batch of no knead Clover honey dough.
Right.
The no knead is what?
Right. That's the easy part. So you just stir this together in a bowl, put it on your kitchen counter for 2 hours, and then you just make the rest of it. So.
But that's the easy good stuff.
Yes, that's the easy good stuff. So.
And I think, people that cook with canned soup and all that kind of stuff, I don't think that's so wonderful.
Well, I haven't. I belong to a culinary book club, and we recently did a book that, and I did a recipe to bring that required a can of chicken mushroom soup. And I thought, boy, when was the last time I bought chicken and mushroom soup? And but it turned out pretty well.
Out okay.
I mean, it was
Oh, Judy, if you made it, Judith, I know it was good. And here's all kinds of syrups and cranberry jam and. Do your friends still cook like that?
Yeah, I think I have people that
I'm getting hungry
they kind of
here, I must say.
Yeah, they like to do gifts from the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's a recipe in Heartland that you can make your own butter, and you just put cream in the food processor and let it go.
Oh well, when my son was little, we would make butter, and he thought that was just wonderful, and. I like this is smoked roasted pork shoulder with soy sauce.
Yeah.
and I tell you what's interesting too about your recipe book, you always you make a comment. How do you come up with the comments? And they're always kind of interesting. She said, "I've fallen in love with smoked roasted pork shoulder. It's a dish that rewards in many ways. It's easy on the cook." I'm just picking out, even if you overcook it, which is difficult to do.
Yeah.
And see, I think that's.
Yeah,
fun.
it's like, I think a cookbook has to be sort of your friend in the kitchen.
And
it's
the soy
like,
sauce,
yeah.
we have to look at
yeah, they're
photographs.
darling. Yeah.
Yes.
Jonathan Chester did the landscape photos, and he's here in town. And Ben Piper did the food photos, and he's here in town. So it was just a labor of love, I think, for all of us to do this book.
Is it hard to decide how you want to put it together? I mean, to me, it might be easier to pick the recipes than to put the book together.
I think Andrews McMeel published it in their, obviously hometown. And if you take the paper cover off of the book, you will see that the outside is like barn siding or siding on an old farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look inside, it's like an old farm quilt, a memory quilt or a crazy quilt. I mean, the care that they took with this book is...
Now, who
it's
decides
just phenomenal.
that kind of thing?
Their art director. So,
so they then ask you if you like it? Or?
Yeah, I mean, what was great is, and you don't always get this experience with a cookbook, is it was a very interactive, and went to meetings, and they said, well, what do you think? And so it really is,
So they cared how you felt.
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
That's nice.
So, Midwest, all of us are not too far from the farm, even if our parents or grandparents, might have been our great-grandparents, but still all of us have that connectedness to that kind of a place.
Where did you find the photograph on the front? I like that.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think that is actually in Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, the colors, the robin's egg blue in the sky, and it all kind of works.
How do you choose the recipes? Where do you find? I mean, there are what, 350 recipes in here, something like that.
Yeah, quite a bit.
That's a lot of recipes.
Yeah. Well, since it is about the Heartland and about the Midwest, so you start with the really good regional foods that we have. So, corn is from here, and most of the pork comes from here, and black walnuts and those kind of things.
So you make a list of the regional foods?
Yeah, so I made a list of them, and then I went and I looked at restaurants all over the Midwest who did farm-to-table or local foods, and I saw what kind of things they had on their menus, and then you have to make that achievable for the home cook. So it was all of those things.
Are they original recipes or recipes that you have found elsewhere and changed, or a combination of all?
A combination of all of those. Some of these are recipes that I've been using for quite a while. Others are recipes that that I developed or adapted from other people's recipes. So
well, I read in one of the recipe books, I looked at several, and it said tomatoes and oregano make it Italian.
Yeah.
Wine and tarragon make it French. Sour cream makes it Russian. Lemon and cinnamon make it Greek. And soy sauce makes it Chinese. And garlic makes it good.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Too.
Yeah.
I do too. And you know, a recipe, and I know this, but a recipe without garlic and onion, you know, I mean, main dish, to me, that's not so good.
Yeah, it's not so good. I mean, it's that you know, the building the layers of flavor that you know, and just a little sprinkle of garlic salt is not gonna do it.
It isn't. And you know, we all know people that are kind of bland. I call those no garlic, no onion people.
Yeah.
You've written other cookbooks, and I told, in 1995, I interviewed Judith because Pure Prairie had just come out. And this is mine, and I use it. Actually, I love this book. I like it for lots of reasons. One, it's small, it's lightweight. Two, it has all kinds of, and see all these bookmarks in here are mine that I've used, and just some of the things that I've made in here that I think are, here's wilted greens. I love that. Have you ever tried to find a recipe in a regular cookbook for wilted lettuce or wilted greens? I don't think you can find one. But see, in this kind of cookbook, you can. Deviled short ribs with garlic, mashed potatoes, and wilted greens. I made that one. Excellent. Excellent. I'm gaining weight just sitting here talking to you. I just think, oh, what are you doing? You try so hard, and here you've gotten yourself all excited here again. Barbecued beans. Oh, here's one. Kansas City style barbecued brisket with blue cheese coleslaw and barbecued beans. By the way, you did one on the Barbecue Queens.
Right. Karen Adler, my fellow barbecue queen, and I, part of our working lives we spend in a what we call a working tiara, and that is kind of a sun visor that we've duded up with real rhinestones.
Well, I would expect nothing less.
Of course, of course. And we keep saying when we really get to the top of the bestseller list, we're going to trade those in for cubic zirconia, but we haven't done that yet.
Buttermilk butternut pie. I made the hazelnut cheesecake that's in here. I mean, I've used this since 1995, and I'm here to tell you that, and I told you that I have never tried a recipe that you have suggested that was not really good.
Oh, well, that's a very high compliment. Thank
again,
you.
No pay for that.
Yeah.
That was unsolicited testimonial. Absolutely. You know, sometimes a person will say to you, well, I'm an intuitive cook. I don't measure, I just cook. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, you know, there are left-brain cooks, and those are people who follow, you know, it's step-by-step, follow the recipe exactly. And I think for baking, you know, that's great. Then there are right-brain cooks that get this general idea for something. You think, boy, I've got this in the refrigerator, or I have that in the garden. And that's good if you're not trying to bake doing that. But I think when you write a cookbook, you've got to use both sides of your brain. So there's the big concept side, and then there's the step-by-step, we have to measure this, you know.
See, I measure everything.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so.
To me, it's sort of a chemistry class.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of.
Yeah.
You know, although I have a great friend of mine, Dee Barwick, who makes the best soup ever. And she is just a little bit of this, and she puts it in until she likes the way it tastes, and it's always fabulous.
With soup, you can do that.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching, this is years and years ago, and Phyllis Diller was talking about the fact that she made garbage soup. And she just took everything out of the refrigerator that she wasn't using and put it in the pot, and it was soup.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes that really tastes, that tastes
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, you know, I try to look at, I like food that tells a story. So I like, you know, I was an English major, I've taught English, so I like stories. So I like foods that are colorful and flavorful, but I always like the story with it too.
Well, and this one, there are more stories with the Pure Prairie. I mean, there are more comments in the Heartland, but these are stories. Here's one about I just opened it at random. Wave the wheat salad. Prairie loyalties are divided among Wolverine, Cornhusker, Buckeye, Jayhawk, Fighting Irish, Hoosier, Wildcat, Cyclone, Fighting Illini, Sooners, and Tiger teams, among others. But no matter what games you attend, you'll see fans waving the wheat. And this salad recipe, great for tailgating, is also a cause to celebrate the union of great taste and good health. best made a day ahead, so all the flavors melt.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love that, because everything you have, and you talk in here about some of the Indian tribes making, and the recipe, that I forgot which one it was, but some of the original recipe came from an old Indian tribal recipe that you had found someplace. I mean, to me, that's just,
Yeah,
that's who we are in the heartland.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
we're a mix of mix of things, and you know, we forget that the different tribes. I mean, we're used to the Plains Indians who were, you know,
Nomadic.
nomadic
Yeah.
and buffalo hunters. But you know, there were the tribes up along the Missouri River, and they were great gardeners, and they had, you know, they had this whole system. So
Well, and Julia Child says,
Yes.
you don't have to cook fancy or complicated masterpieces, just good food from fresh ingredients.
right. I mean, she had it exactly right. You know, so
Do you find that if you use, let's just say fresh tomatoes grown in the summertime on the vine, as opposed to tomatoes that you buy at the grocery store in the winter, does it taste different to you?
I think one of the best things ever is a tomato that you've grown in your own yard, and the first tomato of the season that you go and pick when it's still warm, and you just eat it right then and there. You know.
Do you know, speaking of tomatoes, I love green tomato pie.
Yeah.
And I have mentioned that lately to 2 or 3 people, and they look at me like I'm out of my mind. Green tomato pie, and it is excellent.
It's very good. Now, do you put spices in yours?
Yes. Apple pie spices.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is.
yes.
It's kind of like a Granny Smith, using a Granny Smith apple, but it's green tomato, and it's wonderful.
And it is good. I mean, there are other ways to do green tomatoes than fry them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think I want to go back to the Heartland recipe book just a minute, because you have some other kind of collaborators in that, other than the pictures that are in there. And you talked with Jonathan Justice about herbs, and a poultry breeder in Lindsborg by the name of, was it
Frank
Reese?
Frank Reese.
And what's a heritage poultry breeder, by the way?
Heritage simply means an old breed, and that's one of the old things that's become new again in the heartland is these heritage breeds take longer to mature, and that's, you know, that kind of put them out of favor for a while, you know, with hurry up, get it done fast, you know.
Fatten that old hen up and
Yeah,
let's get her in the
hurry
soup.
it up. But they actually have a lot more flavor. I mean, if you ever taste like a heritage turkey versus, you know, a regular old, you know, frozen turkey, there's no comparison. And the heritage turkey, for want of a better word, just tastes turkeyer. You know.
Okay.
And heritage pork it's wonderful.
So it isn't just chickens that he grows.
Yeah, well,
or that he raises.
Frank Reese does chickens
Only
and turkeys, and then there are other breeders across the heartland who do heritage pork breeds, like Berkshire and you know, we're used to the Poland China, the little pink pig.
Yeah.
But there are other breeds, and you can go up to Paradise Locker Meats, which is, if you're going up to the airport, it's just sort of right up in Trimble, Missouri, and you can go in there, and it's like a heritage pork supermarket, you know.
Really?
Yeah, so it's fabulous.
And where does Frank Reese sell his chickens? Does he?
I think there are some markets. I think Bad Seed Market has some.
In other words, kind of like the
you can order
the fresh
them.
food kind of
yeah,
markets.
Yeah.
Well, and you used a Green Dirt Farm in Weston too.
Yeah. That I went to one of their farm dinners, and that experience that evening, we sat.
Is that where they do it, a long table?
A long table, and you could hear the frogs croaking in the background.
Yeah.
But it's one of those experiences that it makes you glad you're alive. And it's the same with going out to the Kansas City Symphony when it's in the Flint Hills. You're just glad you're alive. I mean, it's, you know, we've kind of, you know, the real, it's rooted in a place, wonderful. It just is, it's uplifting, and it makes you feel great.
Well, I'm quoting you, Judith. You said, I want it to feel real.
Yeah. And it, you know, I love where I live. I think the Heartland is a wonderful place.
I do
And
too. I'm not going anyplace.
no, every once in a while you have one of those experiences. My literary agent came to town, and I went to pick her up at her hotel downtown, and I just wanted to park the car in one of those lots where you have to pay just for like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I asked the guy, I said, can I just park here? I'm going to be 5 minutes. He goes, sure, go ahead. And I thought, that's why I love to live here.
That's right.
It's easy to live your life.
Over these years, and you've been at this a long time, Judith, you have accumulated lots of recipes. How do you know where? Do you have some sort of a filing system?
No, I wish.
I was expecting you to come up and say, "Oh, yes, I have a wonderful."
No, I have book manuscripts, and I kind of know where recipes are in different books. But at home, I have like plastic tubs, and I will go through, whatever, and if I see something I like, I'll put it in a plastic tub. And before I write a book, I will go through and kind of look at all those again. And even if you don't use that exact recipe, maybe the title has given you an idea, or there's something that springs from that.
Do you have a hot bucket of hot file recipes that you're going to use in your next book?
Yeah, so then I make another tub for the
the hot tub.
For the hot tub for the ones that.
Well, I know that you travel around, and you went to Nicodemus, for example.
Right, right.
And Nicodemus, as you know, is the old settlement of African Americans, and the town is still there. You can go to Nicodemus, Kansas, and I guess there are just a few people that live there. It used to be a rather thriving community.
Yeah.
And you met a woman there. Did she give you? Did Perlina give you any recipe?
She did. I actually did a story for Saveur magazine years ago, and went out there, and it was 107 degrees. It was
a little
hotter than hot.
Yeah.
So she made this wonderful peach cobbler that, and then she showed me the wild plums that she had canned, that she picked along the creek, and her husband is a wheat farmer, and so she was a lovely person. And I think Nicodemus is now slowly becoming kind of a national park.
Oh yes, they've reinvented themselves,
right.
Really quite successfully.
Right.
But all these things make it feel real.
It does. It does. And we got to go to a gospel sing, which I had never been to. And you just sort of get up and sing, and I thought, I didn't know if any of my convent school songs would be appropriate, but
but you surprised yourself.
I surprised myself. So
but all that is incorporated into Judith's cookbooks. Now I know that I don't know. I don't know whether this sounds good or not, but I know if it's in your book, it's good. Root beer funnel cakes that you got in Hayes.
Yeah. I saw that on a menu in Hayes. I didn't get to try it, but I thought, funnel cake is very Midwestern, and root beer is as well. When Prohibition hit, the breweries had to do something, and it was a mom and pop business, and so root beer was in. And every little place has a different kind of root beer. So I first tried it with just root beer, but it needed the root beer glaze too, so that's kind of how that came about. So it needed a double shot of root beer.
That you kind of made up as you went along?
Right.
So it's a combination of careful measuring and creative thinking.
Right. So it was that concept, root beer funnel cake. Now, how do you do that? So
you talk a lot about bread, and I realize there's an easier way to do it with your strudel in here. But I stay away from bread because if you don't know how to knead it, and I know that Midwestern farm wives are known for their bread.
Right. Well, this no knead, you just really stir it in a bowl, and the extra liquid in the dough takes the place of kneading. So you get wonderful bread. There's a photo in Heartland of this braided challah that's fabulous, and all you did was stir the dough together in a bowl, and then you take it out and you put a little extra flour on it, cut 3 strips, and form them into strips, and then braid them, and there's your loaf of challah. So it's easy.
Well, see, and I think that's the way the world is going, because so many families, the adults in the family all work, and they don't have the time. My mother was home all the time. My mother cooked 3 meals a day. I came home for lunch, and my father had a big breakfast, and then when she finished that, she was fixing lunch for me, and then when she finished that, she started dinner.
Yeah.
And she ran to the grocery store in the meanwhile and cleaned the house. And, but
watched a few soap operas.
That's right. Oh, we didn't have television. I hate to tell you.
Well. Well,
I shouldn't have said that, should I? I'm dating myself.
She read a lot.
She read a lot. No, but truly, I mean, she was busy. And now we have change, like the no-knead bread and the quicker dinners and the, you know.
Yeah.
And I worry sometimes because I think when we rush too fast, are you concerned with healthy eating in the recipes that you put together? Is that
healthy
something
eating? Yeah, healthy eating from the standpoint is, you know, that you want real food, you know, as unprocessed as possible, and to do simple things with it and make it good.
Yeah. Do you cook much with lard?
I just, that's one of the things, rendering lard is so easy, and lard is one of those, oh, you just chop it up and put it in a crock pot, and that's how, you know, how easy is that?
Where do you get the pig?
At Bicklemeyer's.
Oh, at Bicklemeyer's.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I don't see that laying around
Yeah,
in the grocery
yeah.
store.
No, I mean, and when you do it yourself, it doesn't have the preservatives in it,
Oh, yeah.
and it doesn't have that musky sort of flavor.
And it smells funny.
Yeah, and it doesn't when you do it yourself, and it makes the very best fried chicken. If you're going to have fried chicken,
That's
have
what my
fried
mother
chicken.
always said. Yeah.
You know,
But you know, sometimes people use lard in the icing or in some
in pastry crust.
See,
yeah.
I don't think that makes it. The
Yeah.
crust is one thing, but if they use it in icing or something,
Yeah,
that makes
no,
it,
I'm
I
not
don't
crazy
like
about
that.
an icing, but the crust is.
Yeah.
And again, if you
Yeah.
make it yourself, it really tastes good. It gives you that flakiness.
How do you judge a good recipe?
I think if you look at it, and if the ingredients are good, if you can make it and it doesn't take you 25 steps, and if you can see that the flavor, that somebody has cared about flavor. Now, to me, if you're going to have a fruit something or other, you're probably going to need a little lemon juice, because otherwise the fruit just doesn't
brown.
shine.
Well, it turns brown.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, you can tell if flavor is important to.
Well, my mother always said, if you put good things in, good things come out.
Yes.
And the good things to her were butter and sour cream and everything.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Fattening.
Yeah. Those are still good, but you know, we don't want to do as much of that these days.
No,
So.
no, we don't.
Yeah.
What's next for you, Judith Fertig?
I'm actually working on a couple of projects for that'll be out next year. One is in conjunction with Barb Unell of the Back in the Swing, Healthy, Joyful Living After Breast Cancer. We're getting together on a cookbook. It'll be out next fall. I'm working on a cinnamon roll cookbook, so that's so I have to worry about the flour, you know, and then Karen Adler and I are doing The Gardener and the Grill, and that'll be out in the spring. So it's been a busy year.
So if I need to find you, you'll be in the kitchen.
I'll be in the kitchen. Or out in the patio, you know.
I think that's funny. But, you know, I have to encourage you, because Judith Fertig's recipes are just excellent, and I'm always looking for the new one to come out so that I can try those recipes, because I don't know where you get them, dear, but they are all good. And I guess, I mean, you know, one expects Judith to walk in all covered with flour in her apron on and a few smudges here and there, but that is not the case. And she not only cooks well, she writes well, and it's good reading in the recipes.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Mary.
I just love it. So look around for any kind of cooking in the heartland, and you're very likely to see Judith Fertig's name on it. And as I say thank you so very much, I would say to all of you, please come again and join us as we meet these wonderfully interesting people in our community. And in the meantime, good eating.
Yes.